All right, g'day everyone. We're going to kick off with some Formula One. Pretty wild race, Mertz. It's just great when you see that aquaplaning and the guys have got virtually no vision. We had the United colours of Benetton with the flags. We had yellow, we had red, we had green, we had a black with Hulkenberg.
Confirmation that Hulkenberg received outside assistance, which is why he was shown the black flag. That flag is to disqualify a driver from the race.
Yeah. Everything you could ask for in a race. But just before we get stuck into that, we just wanted to go back to the sprint race because pretty controversial with what ended up happening, and obviously it impacted our Aussie boy Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, not proud about it, but we worked well as a team together, so I thank Oscar. No, but we've done a great job as a team. Today was the result that we wanted. Oscar deserved it, but yeah, we're doing what we have to do. So I thank him and the team, and we had great pace. So looking forward to qualifying in the race tomorrow.
Well, yes, it's probably the most hollow victory Lando Norris will ever have. And I'm actually kind of glad now that Max has all but pretty much wrapped up the thing, unless he has a catastrophic final 3 races and crashes out. It's pretty much Max's to lose from here. But if Lando went on to win the World Championship, this would have been Lando's version of Max's win over Lewis in his first World Championship, because it's pretty embarrassing for the entire sport when you have to get your teammate to move out of the way. Like, there's no meritocracy in F1 when you're telling one of your teammates who's won the race, he qualified fastest, was winning the race from beginning to end, and then you go, nah, step aside so your mate can go through.
Do not take that risk. Immediately, McLaren give the call to Oscar Piastri to prioritise the highest McLaren driver in the Drivers' World Championship. And after all of the speculation, all of the debate, Piastri plays the team game and Lando Norris leads.
It just takes so much of the luster off the win. And if he won the world title, I think it would have been McLaren won Lando the world title, not Lando winning the world title. And I feel like, even though I wouldn't go with an asterisk, it kind of gives an asterisk in everyone's mind that Lando didn't win the world title. He was handed it because his teammate was good.
See, I disagree. I agree that it's hollow and it's not a good look. But I think we've sort of become accustomed to this. I remember it being a huge controversy sort of years ago when, are you allowed to let your teammate through? They banned that. They allowed it again, team orders, all this kind of stuff. But it's a terrible look. And the person I feel the worst for is Oscar Piastri, because he deserved to win that race, albeit a sprint race. But, mate, he needs the points. He needs everything he can do. You can understand why the team wants to do it. I get that it's hollow, but if you're just looking, it's a numbers game. They want to win the world title. They want to do whatever they can. I mean, Ricciardo pulling out a fastest lap to give Max an extra point. It's all tactical. It's all points. It's all doing what you can to get on top of the Drivers' Championship. So very hollow. And I don't think Lando would really enjoy it either, but he needs the points.
What he said. That's what he said after. He was saying that it's not the way that you want to win a race.
Yeah, but he still took the position. I mean, he still took the position. Exactly. He still knows he needs the points.
Yeah, but it's happened not in every race or anything like that. And it's since we've had the team orders, it's not really been that much of an issue. But it's just an embarrassing look. It's really an embarrassing look when you're talking about how they're teammates, but they're not really. They're kind of direct competitors when you've got teammates in F1. But then you're making one teammate bend over backwards for the other one. So is Lando going to do that next year when Oscar starts really well?
Exactly, and I think that's a big point. I think in a lot of ways, Oscar's already showed that he's a better driver, and he's shown that in a lot of different circumstances. I mean, fuck me, stop me if you've heard this before, but Lando couldn't hold down a pole position. But just on that, I reckon I think Oscar's going to be filing all of this stuff away, and he's going to use this. It'll just be in the back of his mind. All right, mate, I'll do the team thing. I'll move over for you this year, but going forward, let's see what happens. And I can see him just going past Lando, and I'd love to see roles reversed, which we don't really get to see very often, where suddenly the number 2 guy is number 1, and now Lando has to do the team thing. Can you imagine him trying to swallow his pride and let him take over? I don't know.
Well, look at that when Oscar had basically won his first. Well, Oscar won his first race, and Lando ruined it by refusing to yield.
Yeah, exactly. It's team orders when it suits you.
Yeah, but then it's just ugly and it's hollow, and it was hollow for Piastri winning that race.
But
And
I'd
it
still
just
rather
ruined
that
his moment.
yeah, I'd still rather that it's somewhat transparent and we know it's happening and we know why they're doing it, sort of thing. I don't know. It's an
Oh yeah,
ugly
we know
look.
why they're doing it, but I just hate it. It's just an
Yeah,
embarrassing look for the sport because it's an individual sport. It is an individual sport, and you want them to just go out and race. And that was the best
yeah,
part of this race. This race was so fascinating because there was just all this little crap going on all the way through. It was just absolutely riveting because you just don't know if someone's going to go off, someone's going to break and just clip the line, and like Sainz crashed into the wall by just barely breaking on the
yeah.
white line, and it's just those little moments. And Max, actually, I'll jump onto Max. Max showed that he's the best driver on the grid to me. This was a phenomenal drive, and from the first lap, that first lap really set up his race, coming from 17th, taking 7 places, and that overtake he took on the first corner, coming on the second lap. It was incredible. He was an incredible. He looked like he was driving dries compared to everyone else. He was phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. It was one of those races where the cameraman couldn't keep up. I mean, every few minutes there was someone else spinning off the track or going into the barriers. But mate, I was going to say the same thing. This is the race where Max sealed, a 4th world title, and he was the clear driver of the day.
The Dutchman has delivered a defining drive. He climbs the hill back to Grand Prix victory. Max Verstappen wins the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in 2024.
And that spot you're talking about, that turn, is it turn 1? Or
I think it was turn 1. Maybe I'm wrong.
And he used that same spot
he did it many times.
again and again to keep picking up place after place
But he was the only one who could do it. And he was
Exactly.
taking a shallow turn into the corner. Everyone else was going wide and cutting in.
And when he took Piastri, when he did it to Piastri for about 6th or 7th, it was like, holy shit, he's just doing it to everybody. They're not seeing it coming. They're thinking no one's got the balls to make that pass on the inside, and he just kept doing it. So phenomenal drive from him. We can get into the red flag and what it meant, and Lando bitching and moaning about it and whatever. The rules are the rules. As we talked about off camera, that stay out there. You know what's coming.
Well, it's a wet race. Honestly, if you have to pit in the 50th lap of the race, who cares? Stay out there long enough. Because if everyone else is staying out there, the tyres on every car are starting to degrade. There is going to be a crash. You hope it's not you, but you also hope it's not you on any corner. Lando, after he came back on, he was trying to make up positions, obviously.
But he was
all over the place and driving off the track. And you could just see he was panicking, and Max was just cool as a cucumber. He was just so good. It's one of those races where you look back at the end of the year and you go, wow, Max really had it up against him this year. But that's the race where you go, he is a true world champion. That is a true world champion drive.
The first half of the year set up this championship win for him, which he can actually secure it this week in 2 weeks' time in Vegas. He can win it just with that points gap now. But just the difference in temperament with Max just being so cool and calm, but still taking some calculated risks in the wet, which takes some stones on its own. And I think also you keep seeing Lando panic, and particularly on the first lap. I think this is his 9th world title that he hasn't, 9th pole position where he hasn't been in front, at the end of the first turn or whatever it is, or the first lap. And then he drives angry. He loses the position to George Russell, and then he's pissed off, and then he's attacking and holding guys off and driving the way that he should from the second the lights go out. It's like, what are you doing, mate? There's something not there with him, which Oscar's already showed that he does seem to have the temperament to hold that down. No, you're not overtaking me. I'm blocking every position. I'm getting out of here. Lando just can't get it right. How many times is he going to f it up without working it out?
I bet that Oscar will win a world title before Lando does.
Yeah, we've both said it this year, haven't we? He just looks more measured, more risks, but like calculated risks. And Lando just seems to be missing something. Look, Helmut Marko came out with some pretty disparaging comments in the last few weeks, basically questioning his mental fortitude, which is pretty murky, pretty grey area.
He's not in the room. He's not in the room with Lando. But this was Max. This was Max before he won a world title. I'm sure if Lando got the win, it would push him over the edge where he wouldn't. He would have that. I'm a world champion and I've done it.
I'm not sure, because Max was like 21. He was just a kid trying to sort himself out, and then he kind of matured and got better. I think Lando's already a bit older and doesn't have that world title, so I do think there's a bit of a deficiency there somewhere in his driving. I don't think he will win a world title.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think. Yeah, Oscar will move into number one next year, and give the McLaren the best shot at winning a title, at least.
I can't wait to see what the cars are like next year, because we know that there's such small differences between some of the cars and the drivers. If you've got a better car, I just wanted to say, by the way, McLaren looked like they were going to own this weekend. They looked so good in the sprints and whatever, in the qualifying for the sprints, and then do fall in the race and fall down in the constructors and the drivers' championship.
I mean, yeah, you can't help the weather. The weather changes everything. You're like, who would predict that Alpine would finish second and third, that Ocon would lead the race until Max took him over, that they would hang on to that. I mean, like that's a story in itself, that Alpine came from 9th to 6th this weekend, made themselves millions of dollars just on the luck of the wet.
And seeing the team celebrating on the finish line was fantastic. I mean, these are guys that are battling for 15th every race after race after race. So to get P2 and P3 up there, get on the podium, awesome.
I mean, let's hope it happens again next year with Jack in the car. Jack Doohan, get him a podium in an Alpine.